Summer colds are different than winter colds. Although the symptoms may be the same, sneezing, coughing, low energy, all of it can be tough to deal with when you have a lot to do. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing traditional natural methods of helping people feel better and dealing with health issues. In this month of August, I've been talking about how the flowers and the herbs are our helpers and how we can be healthier. And now we're going to focus on the months that we deal with colds and flu. Already people have been dealing with these symptoms. You know, the seasons are kind of changing and we have to adapt to these.
Oh, yes.
And today we're going to talk about some immune supports and the difference between a winter and summer cold. Yes, they're different. So here with me today are my good friends and neighbors,
Hi.
Deb and Kim.
Hello.
And we're going to share this information about summer and winter colds. So winter colds are most often due to a rhinovirus. Just think of the Kirk, like a rhino with that horn thing, and just add the word virus. So rhinovirus, and they start in the respiratory system. So they generally enter through the nasal passage and attach themselves to the mucus. And immediately the immune system will make a thin, watery mucus that is very acidic. And it does this, you get the runny nose and you get the upper lip that is red and irritated, and the nose gets all red and irritated. But the acidity in that mucus kills the virus. So what do? We go and we get an antihistamine, which totally disrupts that whole immune process. So it is really a good idea to encourage what the immune system is doing with acidity. So you could do this by taking vitamin C, because vitamin C is acidic, and it really helps the immune system fight off rhinoviruses. The virus that is responsible for the summer cold are Enteroviruses. These little buggers actually begin in the gut and migrate with the mucus up into the throat and nasal passages through the mucous membranes. There are lots of types of Enterovirus. In fact, polio is one of them. And they can display a variety of symptoms, and most of these are mild and can easily be dealt with a healthy immune system. So if you want to support a better immune system, you'll take some of the options that I talk about today. So these enteroviruses can include viruses that get in the brain, they can get in the heart, they cause pneumonia and hepatitis, and they're also spread to the other organs such as the spleen, the liver, bone marrow, and skin and heart. So the disease can spread throughout. The body has mucous membranes everywhere, and since this is a mucus generated symptom, the best place to start, of course, is the gut. You probably have heard about the microbiota. I mean, I did post an interesting talk about what the microbiota is on my Health to Home page, and so if you want to look into it, you can. But the simplest way to support the microbiota is through probiotics. Now, Probiotic 11 has 11 strains of probiotics, and from those 11 strains, the gut can create up to 200 different strains. So that doesn't make your immune system on the alert. So this is great for people who have autoimmune conditions, because you don't want to stimulate the immune system if you're dealing with an autoimmune condition. So probiotics are a great thing. Now they need prebiotics, and that's the food for the probiotics. Now, Nature Sunshine includes some prebiotics, but you have to continually feed the probiotics. Now, before we get into that, I want to explain how enteroviruses are spread. They're spread through bodily fluids. So, if you sneeze, which can go quite a distance, if you're in an airplane and somebody in the last row sneezes, those minuscule molecules can float right up to the front. So you don't want to be worried, become this germophobic person. You want to prepare your body to protect it. Also, taking sips from other people's drinks that may be carrying an enterovirus and they're not symptomatic yet. Kissing is a way of transmitting this, and also in daycare centers, feces. Don't wash your hands regularly. You must wash your hands all the time if you work in a daycare center. And it doesn't have to be an antibiotic soap. In fact, antibiotic soaps are discouraged because you have good bacteria on your skin. And if you use an antibiotic soap, you're stripping the good immune protection that is on your hands to begin with. So we want to focus on what we can do to protect our health and be healthier. We don't want to focus on all the germs and all the fear mongering. We can leave that up to the medical community to do that. So in my newsletter that I send out every Monday, I wrote about astragalus, and this newsletter goes out to 600 subscribers. And if you want to be one of them and receive this newsletter on Mondays, just send me an email, drmary@bornforhealth.com, and I will add you to the list. And that list is totally private. It's not, I do the newsletter. I don't do it to a publishing company, and so nobody else sees that. So astragalus is known as a tonic herb and is great for keeping the immune system healthy. It is a food-grade herb that the root is used. It looks like a tongue depressor. And in China, you can see these little ones walking around with chewing these, and they look like tongue depressors. But it's astragalus, and as they chew on that fiber, it helps with teething, and they're getting nourishment from that root. So it's a really beneficial herb. So since enteroviruses begin by trying to replicate in the gut, it makes sense to do the probiotics, and it makes sense to take them on a daily basis. So there's ways that there's people out there that say you should take it away from meals, or people say you should take it right after meals. Just take it, just get it in your body. And, speaking of enteroviruses, the biggest problem with enteroviruses are ear infections. Ear infections are not bacterial on the whole. 95% of them are virus, and they're not going to be cured by an antibiotic, which is what most doctors still do, even though they know the evidence is there. It's been shared in their peer-reviewed journals. They just are not reading their journals, I guess, because they don't really have anything effective for viruses. And the herb world has tons of stuff to help with viruses. So it is recommended to take astragalus daily. It has a building effect, so it builds upon itself in the fact that tonics strengthen you. So you build your strength, that makes sense, to keep your immune system up to par. Now, like I said, it doesn't stimulate it. It actually just what we call modulates it. So the biggest stress we have also is sugar. I know a lot of you probably don't deal with sugar or stress, so you probably turn off right now. Well, adaptogenic herbs like astragalus assist in the immune system. One of my favorite combinations is called Adaptomax. Now, Adaptomax has a plethora of these wonderful herbs in it, and it includes the astragalus, but it has a lot of other wonderful things. So that great 1 or 2 a day just to keep your immune system up to par so that you're ready. You know, the best thing, like the Boy Scouts say, be the ready. You know, it's if you've got good working immune system, you can tolerate a sneeze or whatever that comes your way. So you can check out information on my website, bornforhealth.com, under Herb Encyclopedia, and read all about the benefits of this beautiful combination Adaptomax. So along with that, many of my clients take a teaspoon of silver every single day, because what it does, it too helps the body support the immune system. So it isn't driving the immune system, it's just there to help. It also helps to get rid of dying cells and things that the immune system has to do even when it's not dealing with an enterovirus. The silver has a patent, United States patent. That's the patent. And you can look it up under the patent office, but there are 180 ways it's been patented, studies that have proven it effective, even against MRSA, C. diff, a lot of these extremely tough antibiotic-resistant problems that are in many hospitals. In fact, hospitals are rampant with this. So I suggest people take silver every day. They're in a hospital. It looks like water. If you have somebody visiting you, they can put a little bit in a cup and, they don't have to say anything. The doctors will think you're just drinking water and you're supporting your immune system. It'll create faster healing. It has so many benefits. And it really is tasteless. It really doesn't have any flavor to it at all. So some people that are really sensitive can kind of taste a tiny metallic, but most of people don't taste anything.
And that was 1 teaspoon per day?
1 teaspoon per day is enough. Now, if you're dealing with some really tough stuff, then a tablespoon a day is a good idea. If it's the only thing you're doing and you want to kick this thing out really fast, I've taken up to 4 ounces in a day. I've taken an ounce 4 times a day, and the next day I have no cold, no symptoms, no flu. So it really is fast in helping the immune system set up what it needs to do to fight the virus that you are dealing with. So what vaccines do is vaccines choose a virus and they'll say, okay, we're going to deal with this. And it was last year's, because it takes a while for them to create enough to create a vaccine with. But this year, it may not be effective because it's rare when the same virus is happening 2 years in a row. So if you take something that supports your own immune system can create the antibodies and get it fighting it. So I love Silver Shield. I think it's a marvelous product. It's basically a #1 seller in our clinic. So,
what sizes are there? Do you know?
there's lots of different sizes, and you can go on my website and the Herb Encyclopedia, and I'll tell you it starts at 4 ounces and goes all the way up to this family size whopper. One. But let me show you some of the ways that I use the liquid silver. So the first thing I do in the morning is, after I wash my face, I use 2 pumps of this silver spray with a rose tonic in it. And then I pat my face, in my nose, around my mouth. And so anything I breathe in during it lasts for 4 hours. The patent has that the effect of it lasts about 4 hours. So, it's not like you have to do it hourly. If you do morning, lunchtime, and then when you leave the office, it's a good idea to do it, because then you're not going to bring home some viruses that were coughed on you. And so it's a really good product to use as proactive in not reactive. Reactive is when you've already got something. We're going to cover that next week, what happens when you do have something, how you can get rid of it fast. And so I encourage you to share these videos with other people so that they can know the hope of natural medicine. I present it on YouTube, and if you don't belong to Facebook, then you can share the YouTube link so that those who don't have Facebook can also enjoy these videos. So some of the things that Silver Shield offers is it destroys surfaces, destroys bacteria, viruses, and fungi on contact. So one of the things you can do is you can take your cutting board and mix up a spray with a tablespoon of silver and fill it with water, and then I like to add a little lemon oil because I like the way it smells, and then shake it up and just spray your cutting board and let it sit there for just a couple of minutes, like 6. Dr. Pedersen, who created the nano version of the silver, recommends that the silver should be on the contact for 6 minutes, and then it goes to work. Then you can wipe it off, and that board is fighting bacteria the whole time it's sitting at rest. You can chop vegetables and then wash it, put meat, wash it, and then after you've washed it, do that silver thing, and it will really help to keep germs away from your cutting board. In fact, all of your surfaces, when you're done washing off the surfaces, you can just put that spray on. This spray will last me months, and it's just a really good way to kill off any bacteria. Where the knife meets the handle, there's a lot of bacteria that gets caught in there. So just spraying around that, then it can seep down into that and keep your knife free of germs and bacteria that could be spreading disease. So, but the main thing is people are so much more aware of like salmonella and all that. That's because they do not have the right gut bacteria. If you have the right gut bacteria, a little bit of salmonella isn't going to kill you. But the fact that people have been killing off their good bacteria with antibiotics, stress, sugar, you name it, they all the medications will disrupt the microbiota, and so you need to help support it and feed it. So there are lots of fiber foods that are prebiotics. Almost all your vegetables are full of fiber, and they're very good. A lot of people go, oh, the big thing about get your flu vaccine, get your flu vaccine. It's like, I've not taken a flu vaccine. I will never take a flu vaccine. I've read the instruction or the paperwork that comes with it, and it's like, no way do I want any of that in my body. I feel it's more important for me to protect my own immune system with natural supplements. If you want to get a vaccine, that's fine. Just don't force it on me. And so I'm very adamant about that we should be able to have a health choice. So I've given you some options about how to prevent the summer cold and how to prevent these enteroviruses from getting in and spreading things. Now, one of the things you want to do is vitamin C. Now, vitamin C is not just ascorbic acid, even though the medical community says that ascorbic acid is vitamin C. Vitamin C is very complex. There are many bioflavonoids that are in the vitamin C that are there for particular support with ascorbic acid. Now, ascorbic acid will make it's very acid. So it does support this rhinovirus thing. So ascorbic acid is probably a really good thing to take if you're trying to achieve a more acidic mucus to fight against the rhinoviruses, but it is certainly not the best option for enteroviruses because you do need the complementary benefits of these bioflavonoids. So the thing that I like to take, there we go, is citrus bioflavonoids. That's what I take every day, all year. It doesn't matter summer, winter, because it does support the immune system. It's wonderful. So this time of the year, rose hips are forming, and that's part of the citrus bioflavonoids. Now this is the tiniest rose hip you'll ever see, but this is the beginning of how the rose hip forms. So if your roses are forming these, don't trim them off. Wait until they're red, and then these little berries are chock full of vitamin C. You can make tea out of them. You've heard of rosehip tea. It's a really good way to support the immune system. And some of the roses, of course, have big rose hips, and those are easier because you can do 3 of them will make a great tea. So, ever since I was a young girl, I was plagued with bloody noses. I would I'd go on these little merry-go-rounds, and I'd end up with a bloody nose. And I never knew that it was a deficiency of rutin. Now, rutin is one of those bioflavonoids I talked about in vitamin C. And when you have a rutin deficiency, the capillary walls are very, very fragile. And taking a product that has rutin in it will help to make them stronger. And it isn't just about bloody noses, it's also about hemorrhoids and varicose veins. These also are a situation where the capillaries are too fragile, and just bumping up against something will make you bruise. This happens when you are taking a blood thinner. So taking a full spectrum vitamin C, like bioflavonoids, may be helpful for those people who are on a blood thinner to strengthen the walls of the capillary. Now, the object of the blood thinner is to thin the blood and not to thin the walls, but it ends up doing that. So it is a very good idea. Another component of it is hesperidin, and it significantly improves the anti-inflammatory powers of the vitamin. Some of the symptoms associated with this deficiency are nighttime leg cramps, and one of the other things it does is it releases some histamine, so that if your nose is running too much, now we want the acidic, but if it's running too much, then this vitamin C will help slow that process down. It will recognize that it's being overproductive. So it doesn't dry out like the over-the-counter drugs do. So what do you want to add to your regime to support better immune resistance to fight microbes? I've given you some food for thought, and hopefully you'll try some of these suggestions. Please join me next week, Dr. Mary, at Health to Home, Tuesday at 10:30, Facebook Live. And if you can't make it then, these are recorded and you can view at your leisure or on YouTube. And if you want to contact me regarding a personal issue, you can email me, drmary@bornforhealth.com, and I'll be happy to send you resources or help you, guide you in whatever way it is that you want. So here are some action steps. Take an immune support to keep from getting a viral infection that can ruin your summer fun or vacation. Spray your counter and surfaces with Silver Shield water and lemon essential oil to keep them from harboring germs. Share what you've learned. Recommend these videos to your friends so that people can find solutions that don't harm them or the environment. Now, you know, you can share with other people. It's their option to use that advice as wanted. Sometimes people need to hear something 7, 8 times before they finally, you know, we are inundated with bad information. And so to counter that, people need to hear more and more of it, see more facts, see the research, and get behind it. So keep focusing on gratitude. Be thankful for the people and gifts of nature around you, for the flowers and all the joy that surrounds you. And thank you for viewing. Until next week, this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It.